You have just tuned in to the Mag Nerd Podcast, your home for everything in music, anime, and gaming. Introducing the man with an opinion on everything, showing up the king, and the co-host with the most, Ghostman LK4. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mag Nerd Podcast. Sit back and enjoy the show. What is up, guys? Showing up the king here, and welcome to the Mag Nerd Podcast, episode 4. I am joined today, as normal, by my co-host, Ghostman. What's going on, brother?
What is good? What's goody?
Nothing much, man. Just another day. We are here today. We got an action-packed episode today for everybody. We're going to go get into the rundown real quick, and then we're going to jump right into news. So right now on today's show, we are going to be talking about certain beefs that's been going on in the music industry. A very controversial song that came out from R. Kelly this week, as well as the trouble that Tekashi 6ix9ine has gotten himself into this week. In anime, we really enjoyed doing our top 5 opening anime credits. So this week we'll also be going over our favorite end credits for anime. We'll also go over some anime that we watched this week, and then we're also going to probably end the anime segment off with a nice little rant directed at Crunchyroll, and you guys will find out about that soon enough. In gaming news, we will be discussing digital games versus physical games, and just some other news that's going on in gaming, and then ending things off will be with a little bit of random news. Well, we're actually going to be starting off with random news this week. There's a lot of stuff to cover there as well. So without further ado, let us get in to the show. So other than you, how was your week so far, Ghost?
Full of sleep. I was tired, man. The usual.
Okay.
That's about it.
Work, sleep, and kids, right?
Pretty much. That's all it is, man.
Alright, well, let's go ahead and entertain the people, and let's get into random news.
Oh, you ladder goat. You're so random.
Alright, so this week was actually a really big week in nerd news in general. Comic-Con has pretty much wrapped last week into this week, and we got a lot of trailers. We got a lot of new news that's coming out on a lot of stuff this last week. So I just want to kind of highlight some of the actual things that I watched that I really enjoyed. A couple of things that I didn't see coming. On the DC side, now I know, Ghost, for the most part, you told me that you're more of a Marvel guy. You're not really heavy into DC. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. I really hate DC.
Well, hate is a strong word for something that you don't really follow, so...
I don't follow it because I hate it. But I feel you. Go ahead.
Lord have mercy. So this week they actually finally, James Wan, the director of a lot of horror films, he also directed the Fast and the Furious franchise. I believe he did Tokyo Drift, and he also did one of the later ones that had the revival of Paul Walker in his career. So he also did the he did a couple of scary movies as well. So James Wan, he's directing the new Aquaman movie starring Jason Momoa. Are you familiar with the character of Aquaman at all?
Yes, but very briefly. But
the dude that can talk to fish?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Jason Momoa is a badass motherfucker, and he was also in Game of Thrones, for those who don't know, and he's starring as Aquaman. I watched the trailer, and I must say, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the cinematics were fantastic. The CGI was fantastic. His acting was really solid, and overall, I actually just had fun watching the trailer. There was actually this one scene with him and Mira, who was the female main character in the actual movie. There's this scene where they're on this boat and they're actually being chased by like thousands of these like mermen, and they have like this red canister and they like dive into the water and they're like all following them, and it's just like this cinematic of these two guys, the guy and the girl swimming through the water with like literally thousands of these like monsters chasing after them. It just looked amazing. Like it's just so much going on. Again, trailer wise, that was probably my favorite that came out of Comic-Con. They also had Shazam. Shazam was another trailer that had dropped with Comic-Con, and it actually had a completely different tone than what DC normally does. It's actually more comic based. It's more, I guess you can probably say it's more Marvel, your Marvel type of movie. So, for those who are not familiar with Shazam, Shazam is another DC character, and it stars Billy Batson. It's a 10-year-old boy. Where in the comic book he's 10 years old, but in looks like in this movie he's probably more like a high school student, which probably works out more. And he basically inherits powers from a god. So he has like the strength of Hercules, the speed of Achilles, just all this other random god powers, and he's almost equivalent to like a Superman. That's kind of like what his powers are, and it's like it's kind of based on like a superhero comedy. Hopefully you guys get a chance to check out the trailer. Again, I thought that was very well done by DC as well. Now there's also was a trailer for Titans. Now this is the one that was more controversial, and I think you're the one that kind of had an opinion on that, Ghost, where you said you saw some of the preview stuff that you didn't like. You thought it looked a little corny. What did you say exactly?
That the actors look worse than the cosplayers, and they just look very stupid from what I saw. Very stupid.
Well, again, I completely disagree. Like, I saw Robin, and the Robin suit looked official. Like, it looked something like it was right out of the movies. The only one that I would give credence to is Starfire. So, are you familiar with the Teen Titans at all?
Are you serious? Yes.
You just said you don't watch DC, so I'm at this point.
Teen Titans. I love Teen Titans. You know I watch Teen Titans.
I don't know. Look, brother. When you say you don't pay attention to DC, I'm going to assume that you don't know. That's why I asked. So, Starfire, for those who don't know, is an alien. She has like a orangish hue to her skin. She's not like a white girl. She's just an alien. So, they made the controversial decision to cast a black woman as Starfire, and again, normally nobody would complain about a black woman getting a role in a superhero show, but me as being a purist, I would have, even if they picked a black woman, I still would have preferred them to make her look like Starfire from the comics with the orange face and just like the alien eyes. And they didn't go that route, essentially. So there's a whole big thing, because she also looks like a prostitute, because she has like this like auburn fire wig on, and she's kind of wearing like these like slutty clothes. And again, let me be clear, the woman who is actually playing the role of Starfire is gorgeous. She's absolutely beautiful. But from the actual pre-production photos that came out, she does look a little weird from the other cast. Now, when I actually saw the trailer, she wasn't as bad, because if you look at the trailer, in the context of the trailer, it looks like she's probably pretending to be a prostitute, and that's probably not going to be her outfit for the entire show. So I think that people were making a big deal out of it when it was only one small section of the entire trailer. And also, I think that people were also being really harsh on it, because there's an actual scene in the actual trailer where Robin basically is in an alleyway with these guys, and they pull out their guns, and he's like basically ready to whoop their asses. And they ask Robin, "Hey, where's Batman?" So then Robin gets pissed, and he starts like beating the shit out of them, like shooting them with a gun and like breaking their necks. And then he responds like, "Fuck Batman." So then all of a sudden, the comic book nerds are just all freaking out. Oh my God, why would Robin say fuck Batman and da 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 da? And I'm just sitting here like, why wouldn't he? I'm like, if for those who don't know, when Robin separated from Batman, it was not on good terms. It wasn't like, yo, hey Batman, I'm gonna go off on my own and do my own thing. I'll catch you later. Like, he left Batman because he wanted to kind of separate himself from Batman. So obviously, him hearing about Batman's name when you're about to whoop his ass not gonna make somebody happy. So I just think people overreact when it comes to DC. They always talk about DC's too dark, but I'm of the other mindset where I prefer a more darker tone in my comics. I don't always enjoy Marvel because I feel like sometimes they're too kitty kitty. Did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No, we actually didn't go see that yet. But I will say that the reason I don't like DC is like a lot of the characters really don't appeal to me. They're just corny in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's just.
I mean, it's a valid opinion. If that's how you feel, I can understand that sentiment. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you took a little bit more time and kind of got used to certain characters, like you would probably enjoy. Like if I made a couple of recommendations from DC things for you to watch, I'm pretty sure you would enjoy. Because again, I kind of know your style a little bit
I mean,
more.
I love Teen Titans. That's what I'm saying. Like the Teen Titans, I love the Teen Titans, but that's about it. Like I don't like Batman. I don't like Superman. I don't like.
How do you not like
know,
Batman and
that's
Superman? That's like saying you don't like fried chicken. What the?
Nah, man, Batman's whack to me. Superman is mad generic to me. Like I don't really like it.
Okay, well, you know what? That's your opinion. So
Yeah, you feel me? I mean, I don't even like Captain America, so I mean that he's generic to me too.
okay,
You know
now
what
you
I'm
now you
saying?
now you talking about you messing with America. You about to get chopped. So so I actually do have a bunch of other random news, but before I start, monopolizing the conversation, did you have anything in particular outside of the scope of what we normally talk about that you wanted to highlight from randomness?
Um, I would say really quick, um, Superfly. Don't even worry about going to see it.
Is that joint with the dude from Grownish?
Yeah,
Okay.
the little remake of Superfly or whatever.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. It didn't look. I mean, let me be honest with you. Like, I try to support black cinema, but that movie did look like trash from the moment I saw the trailer. So I didn't really have much faith in it. But did you see it?
No, yeah, but no. And from what I saw, it was like.
Not
So
worth the
pretty much
time.
funny story. Somebody at my job pretty much had a portable DVD player in 2018 and decided to bring it with that movie bootleg. But the
Okay, so I
funny
mean,
thing
you say
is,
what you see. You watched it bootleg. I mean, that's not out of the ordinary.
it just looked horrible. It's like you might as well just wait for it to come to BET.
Wow. BT. All right, so
Not
one
being
thing. Speaking of Superfly, speaking of movies, I saw Mission Impossible last night. My boy, that shit.
I'm not big on Mission Impossible.
You just disappoint me sometimes, but you know what? It's okay.
I like
Folks,
007. I'm sorry.
folks, go see Mission Impossible. This movie is incredible. Absolutely. Like, I usually, when it comes to Tom Cruise, people think he's like crazy, but this man does his own stunts, and some of the stunts that you see in this movie are absolutely bonkers. Like from him jumping out of a plane, from him swinging, like flying in a helicopter. There's like this scene where Henry Cavill, who's basically Superman, and this Asian dude are in this bathroom, and then he's trying to like intercept this Asian dude, and it is this like all out brawl where they just start wrecking in the bathroom, and like this Asian dude is whooping they ass left and right. Spoiler alert! Like it's something straight out of a martial arts film. Like he's like kicking dudes in the throat, and they like throwing each other through walls and windows. It was bananas. So I highly recommend. Like Teen Titans Go to the Movies also came out this weekend, and I have to say I cannot support Teen Titans Go. I am not a fan of Teen Titans Go. I know there's a lot of people out there who, well, you know what? Actually, I don't think there's a lot of people out here who disagree. I think little kids enjoy. Do you know what Teen Titans Go is?
Yeah, that trash ass shit. They ruined the Titans, man.
Right. So there's a point to me mentioning this show as well. So that's one thing we do agree on. Like I was not a fan of Teen Titans Go in its entirety. I feel like it's just juvenile and it's
Me neither, but Nicole likes it, so I kind of watched some of it.
and again, I will say
it
no. Go
it
ahead.
had like some real factors to it. Like like they talk about like equity and credit and like random. And it does have some funny moments. And when we were seeing Incredibles and we saw the trailer for it, it actually did seem pretty funny.
I can't lie, it did look funny. The trailers look funny. I'm not gonna lie, but I just can't support it.
Funny, but I mean, I didn't know it came out, and we might go see it tomorrow. Now that I know that, because I know Nicole will probably want to go see it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if y'all can, jump away and go see it, I say I don't fault anybody from wanting to see it. I just can't support it because again, I feel like I've gone this long without watching it. And again, I will say I'm not. I've watched at least a dozen episodes, and for the most part, it is really juvenile and not funny. But they do have a couple of little moments. Like I remember I watched this skit where it was Robin's birthday, and they were like celebrating his birthday, and they were like, "Hey, happy birthday, Robin! We got a surprise for you." And he's like, "What? What is it?" And he's like, "Your parents are here." And then Robin was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, your parents, they're here. Like, they came to see you. They're in the other room." And like Robin's like tearing up, and he's like crying, like, 'cause he's so happy. And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, come on." So then they open his door and they like push him into the room, and he gets stuck in all these like webs, and he's like tied up into the ceiling. And then they just shut the door, and it's like, "Ha ha, got you." And then he's like caught in these webs and just crying. He's like, "Oh yeah, you guys are so funny." But then the inside joke is that his parents are dead.
Yeah, like that's what's funny. One time they had an episode about legs, where like their legs were out, and like Cyborg seen like Raven's legs, and he was cooking a steak, and like as soon as he seen her legs, he started like punching the steak nonstop, like saying he was pretty much beating his meat. His
Oh,
apron said something that like really hit into it, but I was just like, yeah, like
okay,
really,
so they
like,
so they do have those moments where they throw in that adult humor.
yeah, they have a lot of adult humor.
See, I don't know. Like I said, I saw. Usually I can probably watch one movie a weekend, and I decided to go with Mission Impossible. I really enjoyed it. But again, I don't fault anybody for going to see Teen Titans. And what I will say, and this is the reason why I brought up Teen Titans, is because there is an actual end credit. And at the end credit, and it's actually online now. They actually put it online because I'm assuming they want people to see it. So you know how like at the end of Marvel movies they always have like the little end credits. They had one for this one, and it was actually the original Teen Titans.
Teen Titans, yeah.
So the original Teen Titans come back and they like break through the broadcast and they're like, "Hey, we're trying to come back." And again, there was a couple of weeks ago where Tara Strong, she's the one that does the voice of Starfire. And she said that if this movie does well, that the studio would bring back the original Teen Titans for season 6. And when she said that, I was like, that's just a ploy to get people to go see your movie. You guys have no reason to bring it back because again, Cartoon Network, we already know that Cartoon Network wants that younger demographic. They don't want people like me or teenagers.
Yeah, they've ruined every show that they remade in that train. Like,
right. So I'm like, they don't want us to watch it. So why should I believe you? But then I saw this end credit, and I'm like, all right, well maybe there is something to what she's saying because again, they didn't have to add in that end credits talking about they're going to bring back the original Teen Titans. So I might have to eat my words if they bring it back. But if they do, at least I know that I don't want to give Cartoon Network any more credit. So if they do bring back Teen Titans for season 6, I want them to bring it back on the new DC streaming service that's going to be starting this year. So that's what I got to say about that. So the last thing in random news that I want to talk about real quick is this DC Fox merger. I'm saying DC Marvel Fox Disney merger. So Disney has finally got the green light from the Fox shareholders to buy Fox. And again, for those who don't know, Fox is the one that owns X-Men, Fantastic Four, Deadpool. So those movies have never been in the Marvel continuity. So Marvel actually has acquired Fox, and it's pretty much a done deal now. They still got to go through a little small approvals, but that happened this week. Now, from my perspective, I'm not actually happy about it. I've always been of the mindset where I enjoyed those things being separate because, again, it gave you different perspectives. Because, again, Marvel is sometimes a little bit too kitty. Marvel, and I'll put it to you like this, Marvel would have never in a million years made Deadpool. Like, you would have, if it was up to Marvel, they would have never made a Deadpool movie, and if they did, it would have never been like what we got with Ryan Reynolds. Did you see Deadpool?
Of course.
Okay, did you see the second one or did you just see the first one?
I've seen both.
Okay, now did you enjoy? Well, I'm pretty sure you enjoyed them because again, I just know your humor, but I mean, I could be wrong.
No, I love them. Yeah, that was great.
Right. So if Marvel was in control of those properties at that time, we would have never seen Deadpool in it the way that we ended up getting it. So for me, I always felt like Fox should have always held on to the rights. And for a moment there, I thought we were going to have an opportunity because Comcast is going to go in and buy Fox. But then they basically got outbid by Disney. But they ended, but for good measure, Comcast ended up making them pay like $15 billion more than they were supposed to. So it was a nice way to stick it to Disney. So Disney is going to officially acquire Marvel, and my biggest fear had already started coming true because they already just announced with this merger that they canceled the New Mutants movie that was coming out, and they already canceled the new X-Men movie that was coming out. So that's already just happened, and they haven't even officially signed on the dotted line yet, and they're already telling them to cancel those movies. So if this is any sign of things to come, then it is what it is. But me being a comic book movie fan, I'm going to watch whatever they put out anyway. So I'll give Disney a chance to not screw it up. But again, I just don't have much faith. So that is
Yeah,
what's been.
because Marvel the game was trash. When
Well,
Disney,
Marvel they
'cause
they suck
Disney,
at making video games. So that's not even what
they
I'm
ruined
questioning.
Marvel versus Capcom, man. Because we ain't gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that is pretty much for random news. We are ready to get into the main three topics. We will be right back with the Mag Nerd Podcast. You are tuned in to the Mag Nerd Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please thumbs up and rate the video with a positive 5 or more. And also follow us on social media. On Twitter, it's at Mag Nerd Podcast 2, and on Instagram at Mag Nerd Podcast. Also, feel free to send questions or feedback to magnerdpodcast@gmail.com. Now back to the show. All right, welcome back to the Mag Nerd Podcast. We are now into our major three topics of today, and today we're going to be starting off with music. So, Ghost, I know you said you had some music news for us. Why don't you jump into it?
Well, first in music news. Well, I just wanted to share my experience with. I was at work. I had searched up Lloyd's version of Swimming Pools by Kendrick.
Lloyd is in Lloyd Banks?
No, Lloyd isn't, just Lloyd, the R&B guy.
Okay. Isn't that dude that got that little shrilly voice?
Yeah, the dude who made the song.
I can make your bed right.
Nah, he's the one who made You, the little J with Lil Wayne way back.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
so like that. I was listening to that because he made a remix of Swimming Pools by Kendrick with August Alsina, but I was thinking about samples to talk to G5 about, so I listened to it. And Spotify, when you play a song, it'll just give you the next song in the queue. Now, since I had searched it up specifically, it was all songs named Swimming Pool or close to it. So I was on the machine at work, so the next song it played, and it was called Swimming Pool by this group called 88 Rising. I don't know if you've heard of them or not.
What genre?
I would classify them. I didn't look at the genre, but I would classify them as pop.
Okay.
So the song played, and I was so baffled and taken aback that I had to actually just search the group. They've released one album, and I listened to the album in its entirety, and I must say that it is so good. Like, it's actually ridiculous.
All right, let me do some things real quick. What'd you say the group was called?
88 Rising.
Go ahead, keep talking about them.
Okay, because pretty much they're like, they have a group. Their group is like a black dude, a white dude, like Chinese dude, a Japanese dude, a French dude, and like a chick, and like a Spanish dude. Like pretty much when they make the music, they, like the Japanese or like Chinese people, they rap in like Asian/English, or they'll just rap in their language. Then the black dude like talks about trap shit. Like, it's so weird, but it cranks. And then the white dude sings like great. He sings like the lead singer of Maroon 5.
Straight Out of China.
Huh?
I see a song like called Straight Out of China.
You would wanna. I would say for your first listen to a song called "Nothing Wrong." Listen to 88 Rising, "Nothing Wrong," and that will be a great first song to just get a glimpse of like the vibe. And after like "Nothing Wrong," I would just only other one I would recommend to start off with is "Midsummer Madness." Those two, because I listened to the whole album in its entirety, and it just didn't get old. Like, it was great, and I would recommend everybody to just give them a listen.
All right, so I'm about to see if I can play 88 Rising.
Nothing Wrong. It's really nice. It's really good. Like they.
How many tracks on the album?
I believe there's 17. There you go.
Carry on the beast. Let me pick you up, girl. Yeah.
Start with like the Japanese guy that like transition. Give it a second. Tell that.
This nothing wrong, girl. I don't see nothing wrong.
You know what? It's not exactly like I thought it was gonna be more like a pop rock kind of situation, but you know what? I could actually get with that.
Bruh, when I tell you they crank like it makes no sense. Like, and then like they rap like half that, and then like the next dude who came after the singing dude was like Chinese and English, and he was like rapping in both, and then the black dude came on talking. They have features from Block Boy JB, like O3 Greedo. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No.
He's an LA artist. They have like some features from some people. I was just like, yeah, who? I was like, yes. I listened to the whole thing. Like, they're great.
Now, do you pay for Spotify Premium or do you just do the free one?
Pay.
Huh?
I pay.
Okay,
I pay for Spotify. Yeah.
So out of the, because again, like, and that's actually a good thing to talk about as well, because I'm still anti-streaming. Maybe it's just my, old fuddy-duddy ways. Like, for me, I still like to either, download MP3s or download an entire album. Like, I haven't jumped on the streaming bandwagon. So, is it a situation where it's like, how much is it per month to stream?
$10.
$10 a month. So it's actually more expensive than like Netflix. Jesus, Netflix is like $7.99, and then you pretty much listen to anything that comes out music wise.
Yeah, unless it's like specific. Like when Drake's Trash Ass album came out, I had to like wait like I think a few days, like maybe a day or two.
Okay, so Apple had the first exclusive to it, and then it released to everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you did now. When you stream it, do you just stream it, or can you save it to like your phone and like keep it?
Oh, well, you stream it, but you can save it to either a playlist or like your whole library. Like you have a library, you can save it to your library, or you can make individual playlists.
And as long as you're paying monthly, you can access it. But you can't. I can't like just download it and save it onto my computer and listen to it on my.
No.
I guess it's equivalent to basically equivalent to Netflix then.
It's the equivalent to like Tidal, Apple Music.
Yeah, I don't buy. Like I said, I'm that old man. I'm like, get off my lawn. Like back in my day, we used to buy CDs from Sam Goody.
Yeah. So like, yeah, like it's like you get to just stream. It's really good though, because you listen to whatever, whenever. The only thing about streaming services in general that I don't like is that they do not have mixtapes, which really hurts.
But don't you got DatPiff for that?
Exactly.
Okay.
So. And
again, that's actually, I guess it's not necessarily a good segue, because again, we'll talk about that later in the gaming section. But for right now, we'll go this. But that's actually good. I'm glad you actually kind of put me on to this 88 Rising. I think tomorrow when I'm working, because we got a lot of stuff to do in the house. That storm kind of messed us up, so I got to do a lot of cleaning for that pool and just like pull up weeds. So I'm gonna need some music to listen to, and I think I'll listen to that. So we are going to jump into the music topics of today, and I want to start with this R. Kelly thing. So, so I don't think I need to explain this whole controversy with R. Kelly, but again, for the very few amount of people who don't know, R. Kelly has done some real shady shit over the years. Like, R. Kelly has been accused of sleeping with like 13-year-old girls. Like, I think it's safe to say that everyone has seen the tape. Have you ever seen that tape from like the 90s, the VHS?
Surprisingly, yes.
Well, not surprisingly. I mean, I think every black person, well, hell, I think most people have seen that tape or seen at least some sort of grainy version of it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. But again, you know, it is what it is. So, he recently has been accused of having his own sex cult and just like grooming women, and so now he's got a whole new slew of controversies. And again, funny enough, you know, me and the wife, we kind of had a briskful debate about the whole thing, because the women that are currently quote unquote in his sex cult, they are of age. So to me, I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, is he forcing them, or are they just making bad decisions? Because like, I have a problem with people putting the blame solely on the man. Like, some of these women don't have a choice, and it's just like, it's R. Kelly and his stature, and he's the one that's forcing them to do this. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. I'm pretty sure he's a master manipulator, but some of these chicks might just have a low self-esteem and maybe made some bad decisions. I'm just saying. So, that being said, he came out with this 19-minute song. And in this 19-minute song, he literally goes over everything. He talks about how he was molested at a young age. Basically, he lost his virginity to a family member, and it was a female. So this basically, one of his family members had been fucking him and touching him since he was, I think he said from like the age of like 9 to like 14. So I think it kind of gives perspective on kind of why he is the way that he is. So, and again, and usually when you see people that do, you know, messed up stuff like that, it's usually something that happened to them in their past that kind of triggered it. Like, usually you don't see a regular, average, everyday dude that just grows up and turns into a monster. Because again, at the end of the day, we all saw the tape, so we all know that he sleeps with underage girls. So it's never a far stretch to say, hey, what you're doing now is probably either on the fringe of being illegal, or if not all out illegal at all. So also in this 19-minute tape, he admits to a bunch of other stuff. What he doesn't explicitly admit to is having a cult or having sex slaves. Because again, his assertion is the fact that the women that he's with like it. So how can you be a sex slave if you are enjoying what I'm doing to you? And he also was making the statements of, it's not a cult, because if you actually look up the definition of a cult, the situation he's in is not actually a cult. So you've probably heard the bits and pieces of the song. Like, what is your whole take on the whole R. Kelly situation?
Man, look, when it comes to that nigga, he did whatever the fuck he accused.
There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it, huh?
R. Kelly a wild dude, man. Like, I just think he do it. I just think he do. I remember, like, I ain't never really rocked with R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, his music crank, but he just be doing that shit, bro. He did that shit. Fuck that nigga. I'm sorry.
All right, let me say this, and then I'll let you rebut. Because again, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I tend to do that from time to time. So one of these stories that came out was this girl. And again, keep in mind, imagine if you are a dad. So imagine you put this situation in your shoes. So imagine you have a daughter. She's 16, 17 years old, and she wants to be a singer, have a great voice, and and again, knowing everything you know about R. Kelly that you know now. As a dad, if you wanted your daughter to get into the music industry, would you introduce your daughter to R. Kelly?
Fuck no.
Right.
I'd go to jail. Because I'd kill that nigga.
Right. So, So knowing R. Kelly's history and what he has been accused of, and I don't think there's anybody in this world that doesn't know who R. Kelly is and what he's been accused of, would you serve your daughter up on a platter to R. Kelly, not knowing exactly what might happen? And that's essentially what happened. Like, this guy basically handed his daughter over to R. Kelly, and then he decided, like, years later that, my daughter doesn't want to talk to us anymore, and you manipulated her, and you did this, and you did that. And I was sitting there, I'm like, yes. Do I believe that R. Kelly manipulated this child? Absolutely. But I'm like, the fault falls on you as well. Because, again, you knew who you were dealing with, and you just gave your daughter to this man, knowing exactly the kind of person he is. That's like, and again, I might get reamed out for this, but I love me some Michael Jackson. But you think I'm bringing my little kids to sleep at Never Land?
Of course not.
Of course not. Again, even if I don't believe that Michael Jackson was touching these kids, why in God's name would I even take that chance with my child? Never. So, like, I feel like the people that are doing that are invoking some sort of reaction so that they can later on get monetary gain from it. But, again, that's just my conspiracy theory. Again, at the end of the day, I definitely think R. Kelly is not worth people's time. But, again, as long as that nigga makes Step in the Name of Love 2, black people going to follow him like the Pied Piper that he is. So...
Step.
Right.
Rape,
oh my
rape,
God,
rape.
it's R. Kelly. I'm going to take off my panties. I'm like, that's what they going to do.
Bro, it's crazy. But, yeah, I feel you.
So, that was that. So, let's jump into next, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Tekashi. I can honestly say that 6 months ago, I did not know who the hell Tekashi 6ix9ine was. If not for King Vader, and again, for those who don't know what King Vader is, he is a G. King Vader is he grew up in the Vine scene, and he made a lot of Vine videos and got real famous off of it. And he had this Power Rangers skit that he does. And again, everybody who knows me knows I love me some Power Rangers. And he used the Tekashi 6ix9ine song in that actual Vine that he did. It's probably like a 2-minute video. It's absolutely off the hook. The dance and the choreography and just the usage of Tekashi's song is bananas. So after I heard that track, I was like, yo, I don't know who this dude is, but this track is fire. So I looked it up, and boom, lo and behold, that's how I first got introduced into Tekashi 6ix9ine. And again, like I said, no matter how I feel about this current state of hip-hop, I still have an ear for music, and I still like what I like. So I enjoyed that song, and I actually enjoyed a couple of other Tekashi 6ix9ine tracks. But what do you think of... I don't think we ever got your opinion on Tekashi 6ix9ine as a whole.
I like his music. I think we needed... his type of music to come. Just too many thug niggas singing, you know what I'm saying, and auto-tuning being real melodic. I think we needed a Lil Jon kind of sound.
Yeah, that's what I'd probably equate him to.
Also, when it comes to him, he's a troll. But the thing about it, the way he goes about it is wild, and
I will say I don't like how he trolls, because I think, especially in light of what happened to... what's his face?
X.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a troll. Like, after the whole X situation, you can see he kind of chilled on trolling people. He just trolls in general. Like, he's just a goofy little nigga. Like, he just be, like, racing and just doing dumb shit. Like, you know what I'm saying, being funny. But he don't fuck with people no more, for real. Like,
well,
that
somebody was messing with him, because, again, if you don't know, I'm about to tell you. This week, Tekashi got yanked up in his own hood by some goons, and basically, he was leaving the studio. He had just, and again, I honestly, when I first heard this story, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "This is a setup. None of this actually happened. He made all of this up. I don't believe a damn word he's saying." So what ended up happening, from what his account was, is he was leaving the studio. He was working on his new track that came out with Nicki Minaj this week. and he got rolled up on by some goons. They basically hit the front of his car that he was driving in. They walked up to the car, stole the iPhone from the driver, and they threw him out of the car and hit him in the head with a gun, and threw him in the back of their car and drove off. Went to his home, had him have his baby mama, stake all the jewelry out of his house plus $20,000, I think. And they took his money. They took the money and they took his jewelry. And he managed to escape after they got the jewelry. He ended up running off. But come to find out later, it looks like it was an inside job because, again, there's only certain people that knew about his whereabouts and just kind of like how he goes. And so it looks like his own goons, the ones that he'd been paying this entire time, decided that he wasn't paying them enough. So they actually decided to jump him, his own crew. The same people that be in them videos with him, apparently he pays them for that actual attention. So I think, like I said, I think Tekashi's a clown. I think, trolling when you're trying to troll in that kind of way, I think it's just a recipe for disaster. Like, I think if you don't live that lifestyle, you should not pretend like you live that lifestyle. Like,
I mean, these days, a lot of people probably feel like they could do it because everything's on the internet. So even though you're not always on camera, you're always on camera. Like, to the point where, like, okay, he's right here. If something were to happen to him, people, cops or whatever would know to go right there. Like, that's why he stays on the internet. Like, the whole internet shit is just wild.
Like I said, man, you have to understand that the real goons out there, they don't give a fuck. Like, these real goons don't care that you were trolled. At the end of the day, if you got something that they want, they gonna take it. And these dudes are stupid. Like, look at the guys that killed X. These dudes got caught within like a week. And you know why? Because they stupid. Like, the young people these days are just fucking stupid. Like, I'll never forget, like, the dude that killed X, they literally had been following him around that whole day. He was in a motorcycle store. They were in the motorcycle stores following him and stalking him, not realizing that the damn store had cameras. So then they actually find him later on in the motorcycle store wearing orange flip-flops, and that's how they were able to identify the dude, because he was the dude that shot him was seen wearing them same orange flip-flops. Like, how many dudes do you know that wear orange flip-flops? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like people are just stupid. And I feel like, especially with Tekashi doing this dumb shit, it was only a matter of time before somebody was going to pull up on you. So
yeah, it was only a matter of time for sure.
So, I mean, I think overall that, hopefully this was a wake-up call for him, because I think even he said, now I think it's to the point where everybody understands that it was actually real, and that it was even worse, it was his own people. So now, of course, he's hired like bodyguards, so he no longer hangs out with the scum gang. And I guess he's also had beef with Treyway as well. So his whole circle of people that he used to just fuck with is just kind of crumpled into like almost nothing. So it'll be real interesting to see how his persona changes over the next couple of months. So that's the whole situation with Tekashi. And real briefly, I'll touch on the 50 Cent Floyd Mayweather beef. Essentially, this beef had been started years ago. 50 Cent had been upset with Floyd Mayweather when Floyd went to jail, and 50 had fronted him like a couple $1 million to get this whole promotion thing started. And then when Floyd Mayweather came out of jail, he basically tried to play that whole amnesia game of like, I ain't tell you to start that shit, so I don't owe you no money. So ever since then, 50 and Floyd had kind of been on the outs. Like, they hadn't been like completely associated, like completely drop each other, but it had been a situation where they had been going back and forth. Because I'm pretty sure you heard about the memes that 50 put out saying that Floyd.
Yeah, he can't read. He's like trying to read a doctor, like a page from a Harry Potter book. Back there, yeah.
Son, you even forget the Harry Potter joint? They went back and played the Breakfast Club interview where he tried to read a drop for the Breakfast Club, and like, so first Charlemagne reads the drop first, and it takes Charlemagne 10 seconds. Literally, he's like timing. It takes Charlemagne 10 seconds, and then they put Floyd Mayweather on, and then Floyd Mayweather is trying to read the drop, and it literally took that Bama like 5 to 10 minutes to get the drop out, and then finally they were just like, fuck it, we don't even need you to do it no more. Like,
I was dying laughing at that nigga face. I'm sorry.
Man, look, Floyd Mayweather, he is a champ. He is Mr. Money. But so essentially, like I said, that's what kind of stemmed the beef. But it's actually flared back up now because it's actually turning into real beef. Because at first you can probably try to say it was trolling, but now it's more of a situation where you know it's legit because some of the dirt that 50 has been putting out there now is actually taking it to a whole nother level. Like 50 basically, there was a couple. This is probably almost like a year ago, where one of Floyd's best friends ended up killing himself and then killing his girlfriend. And come to find out, 50 dropped the knowledge that basically the reason why the friend killed himself is because Floyd was fucking his girl. And the dude found out, and it's like, how do you figure if your best friend was basically fucking your girl, and and again, it's kind of messed up from her perspective because I'm like, if you know that's your it's one thing to break up with somebody. Even if I break up with you, you can't go sleep with my best friend. I don't care if he decides to buy you an apartment and buy you things, like, unless you're really doing some real scummy shit and you want to hurt me, there's no reason why you should have to go sleep with my best friend. So what 50 is claiming is that that's the reason why the friend called Floyd on FaceTime and basically shot his girlfriend in front of Floyd and then shot himself and killed him. And this story happened about a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, but hopefully they'll be. But again, I don't see how they could really kind of fix that up. Whatever. So yeah, that's the beef between Floyd Mayweather and 50 Cent. Again, I don't know if it's trolling. I don't know if it's real, but it's damn sure funny. I think right now if we had to score it, 50 Cent still got it. But again, 50 is the king of trolling. So before Tekashi 6ix9ine, before it was actually trolling on the internet, it was basically trolling through mixtapes, and we already seen what 50 Cent was capable of. So
yeah, 50 was that guy.
Yeah, he was putting people in body bags. So that's it for music news. I think it's time for us to jump into anime. And with jumping into anime, we are going to go over our top 5 end credits and our top, for both Ghost and myself. So let us get into that. Alright, so I think last week you went first, correct?
I believe you went first. I'm not sure, but
no, you went first. I think your first pick last time was Pokemon.
Yeah.
Alright, so then this week I'll go first and then you'll go second. So, let me go ahead and pull up my top 5. And again, guys, this is top 5 end credits for anime. And I think anime does it best. Like, for those who don't really watch anime, you wouldn't really understand. But at the beginning and ending of every anime, they basically have end credits. So we decided that, us being huge anime fans, we gave y'all a nice little sampling of the beginning credits last week. So this week we thought we'd grace you with some end credits. So I'm going to go first. And Ghost, I'll let you listen to it, but there's almost zero chance that you're going to hear this because, again, I think this is before your time, before I even introduce you to anime for real. But my number 5 actually has a special place in my heart because, again, this is one of the first animes that I started watching that kind of got me into it. So here is my number 5 pick for top anime endings.
I do know that actually.
You've heard this before?
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think back to where it's from.
So the name of the song is Hiru no Suki, and it's the end credit for Outlaw Star.
Outlaw Star, yes. You got to remember, sir, I am hip to Outlaw Star. That was my mom's email address for a while because she liked that show too. Yeah, good job. I just forgot where it was from.
No, I mean, like I said, look, it is what it is, brother. It is what it is.
Good job.
So that's my number 5, and then let's see if we got Ghost's number 5. Hold on one second.
Yes, it is.
Alright, let's see what we got here. Now you said actually started watching Outlaw Star like years ago on Toonami, and then like when I first heard it, I was like, yo, what is this? I was like, yo, what is this?
Nah, it be cranking. Anime music be cranking, man.
Tell you, man, people don't ever sleep on anime and on anime, man. I'm telling y'all, it's really great. So Alden, it's Alden's number 5 is Cold Bullets, and that's by why don't you introduce your number 5?
It is called Cold Bullet Blues by Mayan Kurosaki. It is the 4th ending from High School of the Dead.
All right, let's listen to a little bit of it. And I think High School of the Dead was one of your recommendations as well.
Absolutely.
I like this piano riff at the beginning.
That joint kick up and it get crazy.
I like it. I mean, like I said, I forgot about this joint because again, I plowed through High School of the Dead so fast that sometimes I didn't even remember it.
Yeah, it had multiple.
All right, so that's Ghost's number 5 pick, Cold Bullets, and that's from the High School of the Dead ending 4. And again, you guys have to watch High School of the Dead. It is a absolutely fantastic anime.
Yes, it is.
Alright, so then now we're going to go to my number 4 pick. Oh, you might be able to get this one, Ghost. I mean, if you don't, I might have to chop you.
Let's hear it.
Any idea?
Hell no. What the hell?
Come on, man. Like, you gonna lose your anime license soon, son. This is like iconic. Alright, so that was the end credits for Dragon Ball Z.
I never watched Dragon Ball Z in Japanese, bro. That's why. They didn't have end credits in English. I always watched Dragon Ball Z in English. There was the animes that I only watched in English, which was Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, and Dragon Ball. Those were the 4 that I would always watch in English because it was part of Saturday cartoons.
Well, even though you are Mr. 600 anime confirmed on anime, you should have been aware of that one. You get no pass on Dragon Ball Z. No pass. So, yeah, that was Zenkai. that was Zenkai Power. Was the end credit for Dragon Ball Z. So, again, Dragon Ball Z, I don't really need to go into that too much because, again, it's Dragon Ball. If you don't know Dragon Ball, stab yourself with a burnt butter knife.
Okay.
Alright, so we got Ghost, and then why don't you introduce your number 4 pick?
My number 4 pick is Jikan no Tamari by Azu. Azu is actually my second favorite Japanese singer.
What's the name of the song? Is it the It's a Zero no Kiss?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Yep.
I like this one. It kind of had like a little hip hop flair to it. You do watch a whole different type of anime than I do.
I just watch everything.
I don't even classify it as everything. We might have a debate about that because I'm still shocked at a lot of anime that you haven't seen that most mainstream people have.
Yeah, I've seen everything.
Have you seen Toriko? Exactly.
I got look, Toriko.
Trust me, I know you've never seen Toriko. Because again, if just by me saying it, you would have recognized it. Like Toriko is online of the like you've heard of the big three.
Oh no, I didn't see that. Man, you look, man, you're all into that like generic, like shonen.
Generic? Wow. You have to stop making these assumptions based off of nothing. Like you've never seen Toriko, so don't call it generic if you've never even heard of it.
I'm looking at the cover right now,
and it tells you, and the cover tells you nothing.
It looks mad generic. But let me say this.
Well, wait, before let's not even get into that. Talk about your show. What is the show? And talk about the actual song we're just playing.
Oh, well, yeah, that's Each Is Our Kiss. I had watched it randomly because I watch like all animes, so I
except the actual popular ones. But go ahead.
That's true because I mean stuff like Gintama, I don't watch that. Certain shows, but I had watched it randomly. It was just on the list. I used to just sit and just watch random anime, like whatever came out, and I just came across it. Show was pretty good. It's a romance anime. I'd say I would recommend it.
All right. So we're gonna jump into mine. This is my number. What are we up to? 3?
Yes.
All right, so this I think you'll get this one at least, but this one is actually fairly new, and it was so good that it jumped up to my top. And again, my number 3 best anime ending of all time. Check it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
You don't have to tell me the anime actually, but I know the song. I do.
The name of the song is Kuza no Honka, and it is the Scum's Wish end credits.
Yeah, we discussed Scum's Wish, so I'm already hip to that.
Yeah, like I said, I knew you watched the show, but Scum's Wish is a slice of life / teen drama anime. It actually premiered 2017, I believe, and again, it was actually one of those animes I stumbled upon on my own, and it was actually very good. It had a lot of adult themes to it. It's kind of like dealing with depression and just like using other people for sexual purposes. Like, it was very different from what you would normally see from a Japanese anime, so I definitely recommend people out there. It's probably about 12 to 13 episodes, which is kind of typical for those kind of like abstract animes that usually don't have like long run times like some of the stuff that I normally watch. But Kuza no Honka, basically Scum's Wish, it's a great anime. Definitely check it out.
I agree.
Alright, so
by the way, if you ain't seen School Days, watch School Days. You talk about that if you want to get on that tip. But alright, go ahead.
Recommendations, my son. Recommendations. Every segment has its place. Alright, hold on. So let's go to yours. Your number 3 is, why don't you tell the people about your number 3?
My number 3 is the ending from one of my favorite animes, one of the best animes, like, Jesus Christ, one of the best animes, Steins Gate. It's one of those few shows that actually got like a 9 rating on my anime list from like hundreds of thousands of people. Like, shows just don't get 9s really. It got a 9, well deserved. Season 2 is actually airing right now for Steins Gate. Um, but the ending is called Toki Suka Sadoru Juno no Mayaku by Yui Sakakibara. Yui Sakakibara actually is a great artist. She made like songs from Chaos Head, it's a music anime, etc. Go ahead and let it roll.
I like this.
Yes, sir.
Now I will admit I never finished Steins Gate. I started watching it, but I never finished it.
It's such a good show.
I actually do like that. I actually do like that. That was actually pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so we are on my number 2.
Yes.
All right, so we're getting down to the end. So now we getting out to the creme de la creme. And you guys know, show enough, I don't fuck around. So I bring that fire. So here we go with my number 2 pick. Let's let you listen to it first. I doubt you'll get this one too, but cause I don't think you watched this current show enough to get it. But
Okay.
all right, guys, here we go. Guitarist, you know the guitarist had to come back. Woo! Alright, and so I'm not even gonna ask you if you know what it is because I know you're not gonna know what it is. It is the band is called Rotten Graffiti and the name of the song is called 70 Centimeters, and it is the third end credits to Dragon Ball Super. And this is right around the time that the Tournament of Power has started. So, again, I know outside of you never actually watched Dragon Ball Super. You kind of just watch what people show on online. So I knew you weren't going to get that one. But it is a fantastic song. Again, I really am a huge fan of rock from Japan. Like I love the way that they make music. It's so reminiscent of some of the stuff that I listen down here. So. Again, I highly recommend you guys look up the band Rotten Graffiti, 70 Centimeters. The song goes hard.
All right.
All right, so we got your number 2. Why don't you go ahead and tell the people about your number 2 while I get it queued up?
Okay, so my number 2 may or may not have been used last week or the week before. I'm not sure, but it actually is the opening and closing for the anime. So forgive me, the song cranks that much to me. I actually have the instrumental that my producer made that is sampled from this song. It is called Ochinai Sora by somebody called ENA. I've never heard of them before. It's like their only anime opening or ending that I'm aware of. But go ahead and let it roll. It's great.
All right.
My favorite part is like on the hook when that thing breaks down.
We're gonna listen. We're gonna let it ride.
All right. Yeah.
You gotta let me. I'm absorbing it.
Yeah, you gonna feel it. Skirt. Ooh. It's like,
You stupid. Don't try to add that to it. Don't take the purity of the song.
here we go.
Okay.
Talk to him.
I like it. Okay. I like that. I like that. So your number 2 was the opening and closing of Queensblade.
Yes.
All right. So then now we'll go to my number 1, and then we'll go to your number 1. So
Ooh, let's hear it. This is good. Give us a drum roll for this one. This
now this song has a very special place in my heart. It is from the childhood again. And again, the funny part is that the anime that this show comes from, I didn't even watch all the way through until much later. Like, I watched this anime on a whim, and then I heard this song playing after the anime was over. I was flipping through channels, and I just heard it, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I finished listening to it, and then after that, I was like, "Yo, I need to find this song." So here we go, guys. Yo, this shit it brings a tear to the eye. Here it comes, here it comes. Yo, this shit is so good.
It is pretty nice. Okay.
Alright, so for those who don't know, this is Every Heart, and it is the 4th ending of Inuyasha.
Ah, I knew it. Cool.
Absolutely a beautiful song. I'm just give me another 10 seconds. Gotta love that song. So, Inuyasha was this anime that I actually started watching on Toonami. It was one of those ones that I didn't actually watch when it was actually like, I didn't watch the Japanese version. Because again, unlike Ghost, most of the anime that I've watched is actually subbed. Like, I didn't watch a lot of dubbed anime because once I actually got into it, like, I honestly prefer.
I only watch 4 dub shows. Ever.
So, the only dub show that I watched was probably Inuyasha and, Jesus. I couldn't even watch Naruto and dub. It was just
you
like,
trying to make it seem like I was a dub boy.
I didn't say you was a dub boy. I'm just, I can't believe you just coined that phrase right there either, by the way, dub boy. So,
we official over here.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's a whole other debate because there's a lot of people that get really offended if between dubbed and subbed. Like, and again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably one of those people. Admittedly, like, I'm not a huge fan of dubbed anime. Like,
it's trash. The English actors, like, Japanese people.
Yo, and again, I'm gonna put this out there. Have you ever watched a dub version of a hentai?
Yes,
that
shit is funny.
Yo.
All I remember, this one dude was like, "Oh my god, Naoki, you're pumping nectar." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Mo." I was like, "Hey, Mo, like, these niggas are wild, B."
Yo, It's so awkward trying to like. I was trying to watch this hentai. It's just like the shit. Like if you listen to it, the way that it sounds in its original Japanese form, it makes sense. Like the shit they're saying is still wow, but the way that the chicks are saying it, at least it makes sense. But then when you translate that, you got some like Valley white girl with blonde hair. You can clearly hear the whiteness in her voice, trying to play the role of this Asian chick that's clearly Asian, and she just be saying the most random shit like, "Oh my God, you're doing it." It's just.
It's funny because it's like it's almost like you can hear like first of all the production's horrible, and it's like
Oh yeah, it's horrible. They don't even try.
Like niggas in the office in the background and shit setting shit on their desk and shit.
I'm telling you, it's horrible. So guys, like I would advise you, especially if it comes to hentai, don't go with dub. Just go ahead and use your imagination and go with the sub.
That shit was funny, man.
All right, so then we're gonna go with. You want to introduce your number one pick?
Okay, the creme de la creme of anime openings. This song, no matter what kind of mood you're in, will get you in a good mood. You will be in a great mood. I've been salty as hell, and this intro this ending has played, and that shit doesn't get me hype. This song is called "Trust Me" by Yuya Matsushita from Durarara. When I first watched Durarara, by the way, it's such a great show. You gotta watch it. I watched it. The show took me in immediately. Me and my girl were both glued to it. And when the ending came on, it was so left field. I was just like, nigga, like it was almost to the point where it was like, fuck the show. This ending is like, it's just beautiful. Go ahead and let that motherfucker roll.
All right, let's go. Dara. That how you say it?
What happened?
I remember I previewed this joint. Trust me. Nah, this shit is fire.
We don't deserve these things. Here it goes.
They almost sound like a pop band, but it has a lot more vibe and hitness to it.
Bruh.
That was good.
Woo. Hey, bruh. When I heard that song, I just wanted to like take my heart out my chest, sprinkle some goddamn ground coming on that motherfucker, and just display that.
You say coming? Like, don't you mean cumin?
No, that's how you pronounce that.
You said coming. My dude, this is so stupid.
I'll be on the ground coming.
Right. That's the way you said it. It just sounds so wild. I was like, coming? God damn.
I thought it was coming. That's why I see you. Right, we ain't going there. Right.
We ain't going there. We gotta keep this under control somehow. Alright guys, so that was our anime endings. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you've learned a little bit more about anime. Like I said, there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are not familiar with anime. So whether you're learning about anime openings or endings or learning about coming versus cumin.
I really thought it was ground coming. Alright.
Yo, I'm never going to look at cumin the same way anymore. Alright, so we gonna move on, guys. We gonna move on because we gonna lose ourselves if we don't keep it moving. So I also wanted to talk about one anime that I watched this week, and it's How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. So we are on episode 4, and so far, like I said, I have enjoyed this show a lot. Like outside of Baki, which I'm really not talking about as much anymore because it hasn't officially aired in the United States yet. As far as the summer anime has been going, this is my favorite anime so far, and episode 4 has just solidified it as my favorite anime of summer 2018. How to
Okay.
Not Summon a Demon Lord, again, for those who don't remember, is almost like it's an ecchi OP show. And again, when I say OP show, I mean that the main MC, which stands for main character, he is an overpowered individual, which means that it's the whole purpose of the show is that basically nobody can beat this guy. So again, and just imagine an anime RPG world where everybody's characters are noted by level. So this guy that comes into the world, his level is maxed out at 100. So he's going against people in the world that think they're top shit, and they come in, he's like, your magic power is only at 40. You're nothing to me. So kind of shit like that. So this one particular episode, I won't give full spoilers. So he's outside of his castle, and he's like defending it from all these like gigantic beasts. And then one of the beast leader is this sexy looking like she almost looks black. Like she has like brownish skin. You know how they do like anime characters that are supposed to be ethnic, so they don't look exactly white. So this chick is like a caramel complexion, real sexy looking, and she's like fighting against the demon lord guy. So then one of his other compatriots that are inside of the castle is getting ambushed by somebody else. So he realizes it, and he's like, you've just been delaying me. So he cast this level, I think he cast like a level 90 spell called White Blitz. And literally like it's this tiny ball that drops and hits the ground and literally obliterates like a 6 square miles in one shot. Like it was like literally like some ultra Kamehameha type shit. Like this shit was so hype. Like it literally, I was just like, okay, this show is just absolutely amazing. Like,
And that's what I'm watching next, actually. So
yeah, so guys, definitely check out. It's called How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. That's the name of the show, and it is absolutely incredible. So that's my highlight of the week when it comes to anime. What you got this week, Ghost?
I was watching Hanebado. It's a show about fucking bad men. I've never thought I'd ever watch nothing like that.
Yep.
But I've learned to be open to sports anime with how Ballroom, Winter 2017 won me over, and Anime Slices everything, so it's always good. The animation is ridiculous. You see sweat dripping off these niggas' bodies like you can touch them through the screen. Very good story. I'm not going to get too far into it, but
absolutely. But you
it's
like
actually, it? Because it's hard to explain because it's like there's a main character, but it's almost like two people in the main character, and they both have like really tragic backgrounds.
So yeah, I mean, it's up to like what? Is it up to episode 3 as well, or is it up to 4?
4.
I think I've watched the first 2 or 3 episodes. So basically, and I think he's right because I was going to try to explain it, but
it's hard.
It is kind of hard
both.
because it's kind of like it's almost like a regular, like these two people they met when they were smaller and they had a competition together, but now they're on the same team, and it's just kind of it's very weird. But it is the only thing that I'll say to add on to what Ghost was talking about is that the animation, to highlight the animation, like it is top quality animation, like something that you would actually see in a movie. Like
the
animation
that's like Type Moon animation. Type Moon, like Fate, and
exactly.
Yokai, like their animation is always A1, and it's like on par with theirs.
Absolutely. And then before we move into our gaming news, we wanted to just throw out a real quick rant, and this is going towards you, Crunchyroll. I'm gonna let Go start, but I'm gonna tag in later on, and we gonna get in that ass. But
oh dang, good job saying that because I definitely was about to. But I will say that I am. Let me. I am highly disappointed with your service.
Nah, you gotta give him a little bit more. You gotta get a little bit more niggerish than that. Yeah, I'm just saying you can't call him. You can't say it to him directly, but don't give him the Bobby Wyndham in cubicle 2B. You gotta give it to him.
All right, let me take my tie and my slacks off real quick.
Exactly.
All right, so y'all serving some shit. I mean, I'm highly disappointed. Like, I know it's $6 measly, but nigga,
it's fine. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, fuck that shit, nigga. If you need to charge me $10 so I can connect on a Tuesday evening to watch a random show, please let it be. There's been multiple times where I've tried to log on via my phone, my Xbox, the Fire Stick, the Apple TV, and it's just like, oh, you can't. The servers are down. And then there's other times where like it won't work on one device, but it will on the other. Come on, fam. Like, y'all got to do better. We're paying monthly. I mean, it's an issue that always happens. I mean, when you guys are up and running, it's great. You know what I'm saying? It's bad enough that y'all don't carry every damn thing,
Yeah,
but
don't even get me started on that.
we still support the streets. You know what I'm saying? So if we support y'all, can y'all just let us watch our shit? Work on y'all servers, please. Thank you.
Look. I'm like I said, I'm gonna tag in. Y'all servers, y'all Walmart servers are trash. Like, there's no reason why we should be paying this kind of money. And again, I gave y'all a pass when it came to Dragon Ball Super because I understood that was probably one of the most watched animes at its time. And it was doing like millions of views. So, of course, your servers would be stressed out. But there's no reason why, like Ghost said, that on like a weekday, like a Tuesday at like noon, you guys should not be having server problems. Unless you're getting attacked by ISIS, motherfucker, y'all niggas, y'all shit should be up and running at like peak performance. Like, I want my shit to be that crispy 1080p HD that I pay for. Y'all gotta get together. I love you, Crunchy. I'ma still support y'all, but y'all need to fix y'all trash ass servers. Straight up.
So y'all better. I might drop y'all niggas. Ain't no point. I mean, if I can't watch it, I might as well just.
Unfortunately, like I said, for me, I'm gonna hang in there for a while because again, I'm so obsessed with anime that I need to be able to access it at any time. And again, I do like the user friendly thing that Crunchyroll has. I just need y'all motherfuckers to get y'all servers together, cause for real, like if I try to watch how to, anything, I don't care what it is. Like if I try to watch the next episode of Attack on Titan and that shit ain't working, we gonna have some problems, y'all.
Absolutely.
So that is going to do it for our anime news. Again, this was very, very entertaining. We're going to take a very, very short break, and then we're going to be back with gaming.
Nothing like this on stage, screen, radio, TV, or cable, baby. This is an exclusive.
We are back from with the Mag Nerd Podcast, episode 4. We are on our final segment of the day. We are in gaming. Gaming. We never forgot about you, baby. We will never forget about you. We'll be holding them sticks until the day I die. So, in gaming news, there wasn't a lot of gaming news, unfortunately. But, you know what? I was able to find one thing I did want to talk about, and it's actually Microsoft had put out a little bit more information. Well, I'm not going to say they officially put out this information. This is actually coming from very reliable sources that the new Xbox system that they are building is actually going to be 2 different models. The first model is going to be a traditional Xbox with, the same bells and whistles that you would expect from a premium Xbox. But the bigger thing is that the secondary Xbox is going to actually be a streaming box, which basically means it's not going to have an optical drive. It's not going to have a lot of horsepower because, again, its main function is going to basically be streaming off of Xbox's new Game Pass service. And again, Ghost, you are familiar with Game Pass, obviously, correct?
Yes.
So, what are your thoughts on Xbox bringing out 2 different types of systems when they do launch sometime in 2020?
I think that's dumb as fuck, and I do love Microsoft, and I'm an Xbox boy, but they're some of the most money hungry niggas besides Apple.
Okay.
That is some stupid ass shit. If you have streaming services built, even on this Xbox One, we got Mixer, we have streaming services, we got Twitch built into it, right? Why the fuck would you make a different system just for stream? That's stupid. Same thing with like the first little thing about the whole cable on your Xbox. Nobody uses that shit, man. Like, come on. Like, the apps is all you need. Like, stick to the apps, stick to the games, focus on that interface, focus on bettering the system in different ways. But to segregate a streaming one versus the one that can already have streaming on it is completely pointless to me. They just want money.
Well, in saying that, I'll kind of try to explain to the people why Xbox would even try to do this. And again, I think you're right. I think it's money driven. So there is been a concerted effort from all gaming companies to move to stream only. So essentially what Xbox is trying to do is they're trying to get it so that they could cut the cost down on the amount of money they spend on the boxes and maximize profits. So right now, I own the Xbox One X. And the Xbox One X that I have has a terabyte drive. It has a Blu-ray drive, which are Blu-ray 4K drive. And just to get a 4K Blu-ray drive is already expensive enough as it is, but to have that inside of an Xbox makes it even more expensive. That's why the Xbox One X had a $500 price tag. It's because of the optical drive and because of the horsepower that was underneath it. So I think what Microsoft is trying to do is they're trying to cut corners. Well, not even cut corners. They're trying to create an ecosystem where there are no more stores. So you no longer have to go into a store and buy your video games. You can pretty much just download them. Not even download them, because again, this is streaming. So you can you'll have to sign up for a monthly fee, which is the Game Pass, and you're going to have to pay for your Xbox Live, and then you're basically going to jump online and you're going to basically stream these games instead of owning them. And that's kind of where my biggest issue is. Unlike you, I don't understand why people always feel like limiting you instead of just giving you all the options and letting us have the choice. So I don't understand why you would restrict us to say this is going to do streaming only when you already have a box that does streaming. And also, like, why can't you just have a box that has an optical drive, you can download games digitally, and you can stream? What is the problem?
Charges, even if they were to charge us like $100 more, like, nigga, like, this shit is so stupid to me. Like, it's so dumb.
And again, like I said, I get what they're trying to do. I just don't agree with it. And again, it also, to me, and the biggest issue, which is actually going to go into our actual discussion for this week, is the difference between digital and actual physical media and physical games. Is I feel like in 2018, as people, we are getting away from ownership. And again, I'm going to actually bring it back to what you were talking about before with Spotify. Like, you heard, what was that group you said? 88, what was it?
88 Rising.
88 Rising. So for me, I'm really big, and again, you've seen my basement goes. Like, and again, people who have not seen my basement, I've done a room tour, so you can go into my YouTube and you can actually see a room tour of how my actual office looks. I am a big collector of games. So, like, any video game that I've ever bought or played, even back in the day when I was little, back into the Super Nintendo to N64, I still own every video game system that I've ever owned, that I've ever purchased. I own every PlayStation 2 game that I've ever bought, every Xbox, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, so on and so on and so on. Like, to me, being able to, even if there is no internet connection, being able to plug my system in and pop those games in and just relive that nostalgia is very important to me. And I feel like year by year we're getting further and further away with that with digital games, where the game itself, you quote unquote own it, but not really, because at the end of the day, like, for instance, if you get Modern Warfare 2 and it's online only, if they decide to turn those servers off, I don't care how many years from now, you plug your system in, if you don't have an internet connection, you can't play that game. So, no, go ahead.
I disagree with you.
I knew you would, because again, you are a digital guy, but that's kind of why I wanted to bring this up. So go ahead.
Yeah, on the outlook, I feel like it's more so of like a kind of get with the times thing, in a sense of, like, the only reason I disagree is because, let's say we're talking music for a second, right? Along with gaming, but let's just say music. Okay, so when it comes to music, let's say you like 10 albums that are out right now. Or the month of June, you bought every album. That's what, $60, $70?
Mm-mm.
You pay. It's
actual
like
albums. Albums are way cheaper than they used to be. Like, when I used to buy CDs, like when I bought Kanye's second album, it was like $25 at Sam Goody.
No, now they're like 15. Or
no,
like
not even
10.
15. Like, for the albums that I just bought in June, I paid $7, $8 for them. So that's,
what album was that?
Everyone's, like, every album that came from Good Music. Push's album was only $7.
That's crazy, mate. Wherever you go, because when I was working at Target and everything, like, even when I went in the
oh
store
yeah, you're
the
paying
other day,
$15, $20.
That's probably why. Because, like, now, like, even with that though, you can pay a monthly, just measly little $10. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the difference. If you do the math, it's actually like, so for instance, for somebody like me, I don't listen to music as much as you do. So for me, like, honestly, unless a major artist comes out and releases another album, there is no other album that I would go out and buy. So why am I paying $10 a month for something like that? And again,
yeah, see,
that's why. it's almost equivalent to some people like, do you guys pay for Netflix at all? No.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost like you guys don't watch a lot of TV. So like you would never go out and pay for Hulu, where Hulu is mostly focused on television shows that you're not gonna watch on on regular cable TV. You're not gonna pay $10-something a month to pay for TV when you can basically just watch it for free. Like that's kind of how my mindset is. Like I'm not against streaming. What I'm against is not having the option to own. So I understand getting with the times, but to me, I feel like you should never limit your audio, your client base. So
see, but it's different between gaming and music.
I don't think it's different at all.
But with gaming, you own. With music, you don't. Music, you don't physically own those items unless you purchase it.
Oh, I absolutely own it. So like, I have all the MP3s. Like, and here's what I'm talking about. So right now, I can go in and grab my Nas I Am CD physically. I own that. And guess what I can do? I can put that CD in my computer and rip it to an MP3 file and save it to any digital media that I want to. So I can make playlists. I can do the exact same thing that you can. But guess what? If your internet is out or if you don't have data, you can't listen to music. Whereas no matter what the situation, I can put that CD of mine in my car with no internet connection and I can always listen to that song. Or I can have that song stored in a physical digital file in the device and plug that into my car and still listen to it. But I feel like you guys don't have that option because you are limited to not just the...
But like you said, though, it's from you not listening to music like that. Because me, I have like thousands of songs in my...
Right, but again, what happens if you don't have an internet connection? Or what happens if you don't... like I said, like if you don't have an internet connection or you don't have data or say you fall on hard times, you can't afford that subscription anymore. That subscription doesn't give you access to that music if you're not paying for it every month, correct?
Yeah, but you always listen to the random, you can go to the album and get the free Spotify. But my whole point is this, like, even with that being the case, it's like when I say a times thing, it's like, okay, you get the CD and stuff like that, but who really listens to CDs outside of a car now without a iPhone or auxiliary cord? Nobody. Or Bluetooth? Nobody.
But again, if it's still on my phone, it doesn't matter. Like, I listen to music on my phone, but I own that music. Like, that Pusha T album that I have, again, that's my whole point. I'm like, everything that your phone does with Spotify, I have the same thing. The only difference is that I have the benefit of owning that. Like, it's mine. Like, no matter what happens, that file will always be there for me to listen to.
My thing, too, is there's like little bits of albums that I like. Like, let's say, like, what's a good example? Like, let's use Daytona as an example. Let's say only like 2 songs off of Daytona, but I wanted to have those songs and I like them a lot. Instead of paying full price for the album, I could just, with my streaming, okay, I want these 2, and then boom, like, because with all the music that I have, I paid for Spotify for years now. If I were to have paid for every single album, I would probably pay like 10 times more in actually physically buying those albums all over.
Right, but you're not buying them, and they're only yours as long as you are paying in that ecosystem. Like, I feel like
fine with though, because it's only $10.
Right, but again, like, what I'm saying is that mentality will eventually get you in trouble because again, you are missing out on your ownership. That kind of mentality is the same. That's like, oh, I'm gonna rent this car, or I'm gonna be a renter forever, and I'm okay with it. Because again, not saying I have anything against people who rent. What I'm saying is that everybody should strive to own something that is yours. It's something that you can hand down to somebody. Not that you're handing down music. Understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that people need to get away from and be wary and be afraid of not having ownership on something. Because again, to bring it back to actual gaming, because that's the topic we're talking about. Like for me, for instance, you saw my collection. My collection has value. Like the stuff that you have on your system right now doesn't have any value outside of what you paid for. You can't trade that in. You can't do anything with that. So like
I feel you, but I feel like in that aspect too, like with gaming, like we do own it, but like you said, we have to have an internet, which is fine because, like I said, it's a times thing, like, and it's convenience based too.
Again, like, I don't have any issue with anything you're saying. All I'm saying is that to say that I don't agree with people moving away from that thing, that's the only way that you should be able to do it. Like I know. If I'm what
I know
I'm
what you're
saying is
saying,
that if I want to own, like if I buy something with my hard-earned money, I want to know that I own that forever. No matter what happens, I have access to that, and I feel like we're getting further and further away from that, and then that kind of
you
stuff I
can
don't agree with that.
you're right for the most part. I mean, I feel like the only things that's really acceptable to is gaming and music, but like with gaming, you do own it once you buy it. Even if you don't have internet, you can still play the game
No, you
offline.
can't.
Yeah, you
Not with
can.
some games. Not with some games.
I can play all my games offline. I
Right.
usually download.
So I'll give you a prime example, and again, this is a more of an extreme example, but this is kind of happening.
Destiny or something like that with
Well,
only
actually,
online.
I guess I could use that as an example because I don't think Destiny has an offline mode. I think Destiny is always
It doesn't.
online.
It's strictly online. Yeah.
Right, so Destiny, but I was more so going to say MAG. So I don't know if you remember MAG for PS4, and MAG basically
Hmm.
stood for Massive Action Game, and it was basically like a 100-player online shooter, and literally it was the only way. There was no story mode. It was literally just the online shooter, and the game was probably popular for about 6 months, and then basically it fell off, and then essentially like anybody who paid $60 for that game, once they shut down the servers, that game doesn't work anymore. So like if you put that game into the system and try to play it, you're basically dealing with a paperweight.
But I feel like that's fair enough. That's on the basis of
Right, but again, if you're
just a
buying it,
choice in the
then
game
you're
itself.
taking away ownership. At that point, you're renting a game. You're not buying a game. You're only renting it until the company decides that they no longer want to support it. And that's what I'm trying to get to. The point I'm trying to prove. I'm like, we are moving away further and further from ownership, and then people are becoming more and more okay with just quote unquote renting.
But I have a question. Like, so let's say I physically bought Mag. They shut down the servers too. Like, yeah, I would have a physical copy, but it would still be pointless. Are you saying like so far as like a small trade-in value or something?
No,
Or
you
they
can't
still
trade in
wouldn't
it
give
at all
you
because the
anything?
game doesn't work.
That's what I'm saying. So even if you bought it physically, you know what I'm saying, it would still be the same case. Like that's just that's like with the game.
No,
Like I
so
would say,
what I'm
like,
so what I'm saying is that the reason
okay.
why the game has no value is because it is an online only game. So even if you purchased it, the game has no value because it doesn't. There is no offline mode. It's almost like owning it is also a problem. But one of the other major problem is that the games is a service model where games have to be online only. So for
I
instance,
see what
whenever
you're
we
saying. Some games, a lot of games now are like basically online only, like Overwatch 2, Destiny.
does Overwatch not have offline mode?
Nope.
Right. So say they move on to Overwatch 2 and they decide they're going to shut down Overwatch. All your progress, all the stuff you've done in Overwatch is basically gone. You don't have any more access to it. You can't play it anymore because they shut down the Overwatch servers. So yeah, you've bought that game and now it's instead of it turning into something that you own forever and say years from now you want to introduce your kids to Overwatch just like how when I look forward to introducing my kids to Mario Kart. So like for Mario Kart for Super Nintendo, when my girls are old enough to play video games, I'm going to sit them down. I'm going to be able to pull out my Super Nintendo, plug it into my TV, pop in Mario Kart, and boom. This is what Daddy used to play when he was your age. I can do
No,
that.
I don't feel like that's an ownership thing right there.
It is
Though. I feel
ownership.
like
I
that's
own the game. You can't do that.
no. I'm saying I'm not talking about Mario Kart. I'm saying it's an ownership thing. I'm saying in regards to the online games. That's a decision in buying the game. That's not ownership because it doesn't matter if you bought it online or if you bought it physically. If they
Oh,
shut
then
down the server, it's done.
Ghost, that doesn't make any sense. What I'm saying is that, again, at the end of the day, you either buy it or you rent it. Like, it doesn't matter if even if I'm not talking about a game that was older, like Mario Kart. Like, again, if I buy a game, if I walk into the store, I am buying a game. You're not renting the game into the company. Yeah, there are certain games that have online components where it's no longer profitable for the company. They'll shut down the servers, but those games still have offline modes. That just means like
Are
for
you
instance.
referring to Game Pass specifically?
No, I'm referring to. I'm just referring. I'm not even talking about Game Pass right now. Game Pass
Oh,
is a
because I'm
whole.
saying all the games, like I said, like every single game that I purchase from the online store, which are pretty much all of them.
Right, you don't
I
buy.
still
You buy
own
strictly
when it's
digital now.
offline.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, even when it's offline, like I can take my Ethernet out and play every game I have. I can play every single game. I can play Dragon Ball Fighters.
Well, you can't play every game because again, you can't play Dragon Ball Fighters online, and so that's what I'm saying. So like, if you don't have internet, you basically don't have anything. So that's what I'm saying. So like, for instance, use Destiny as the example. Like Destiny, Overwatch, two of the games. Well, Overwatch, the biggest game that you play right now. I guess we could agree that Overwatch is the game you play most right now, right?
Now Fortnite, but I feel you.
Or well, even I don't. And again, I'm not 100% sure. Does Fortnite work offline?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
It has
so
offline mode.
so let's say Overwatch. So Overwatch, one of the games you play the most. If they decide that we no longer want to support this game, you no longer have access to this game, even though you paid for it. And that's how things are now in 2018. Think back to Modern Warfare 2. If they even though the Modern Warfare 2 servers for Xbox 360 or PS3 no longer work, you can still play that game offline. That value is still in that game. Like if you physically bought a copy of Overwatch and Overwatch shut down their servers, that game is worth nothing.
We gotta find a disconnect because I'm not following you because I feel like it's two separate points because everything you just said is referring to strictly to games that are online only, like Skyrim Online. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online. Destiny.
Right. I'm talking. I'm talking about. So the major. So there are 2 points that I guess I'm trying to make, and I guess I can understand why it's confusing.
Yeah.
So there's two points I'm trying to make. The first point, the first main point that I'm trying to make is that ownership in video games is important. So what I'm saying is that the point number one. If I buy a video game, that game should be mine, and no matter what the scenario, I should be able to play that game offline with internet, as long as I own the system. And again, keep in mind, I do own digital games like Monster Hunter that I own digital. God of War 4 I own digital.
And God of War you can play offline Monster
Hunter. And of course, both of those games you can play offline. So I'm not saying I don't own digital games. What I'm saying is that if there is no internet connection. And again, I guess what I'm talking about is I'm talking about extreme scenarios. Like say me and my wife fall on hard times and I can't afford to have internet anymore. There are certain games that I will no longer have access to if something happens to my soul.
Okay, there you go. You said certain games.
Right. I'm not saying every game, but there are certain scenarios. Like say, I'll give you a scenario. And again, this is an extreme, so take that in mind when I say it. You say you no longer have internet access and your Xbox breaks. All those games that you have, because they're digital, gone. Because you have no way to download them back again, and you don't have access to it. Now again, versus someone that says, say my Xbox breaks, I can buy another Xbox and I still own the disc that the game came on, so I don't have to worry about not being able to play the game again. But again, keep in mind that's an extreme, because how often is the situation going to be where you have no internet, you have no system where you can, because again, or the best way to see it, remember when we were playing online last week and I was playing Titanfall? And you was like, yo, I want to play Titanfall. And you was like, oh, crap, I didn't have no space on my Xbox. I got to re-download it. I got to delete some space first and then re-download Titanfall. Like, to me, that's very annoying versus me being able to just put the disc in and play it straight from the disc versus having...
Even with when you buy a disc, they still make you download it.
They make you download it onto the system.
That's why I went digital, because it would be the same scenario, except one would be with a disc and one without. But let me add one thing to what you said. Nicole accidentally broke my older Xbox, and all my games were digital, literally every single game.
But you can just download them all again because they're all digital on the cloud.
You can just get them, so it's still the same thing. You still own them. Like the systems have it set up so like once you buy it, it's in the cloud, and it's like all your ready to installs are right there. So as soon as you get that new system, all your games are right there. They have your save data in the cloud. That's why you don't have memory cards no more. I thought I lost all my progress. Like I was scared. I was like, I put in all this time in Overwatch and it's gone. All my data was there. Gears of War, all the data was there. They save all your save data in the cloud. I didn't even know that. So
well, see, I realized that when I upgraded my when I changed out my PlayStation, I kind of realized that all that stuff is in the cloud. So again, there are some benefits to it, but then again, that was just one aspect of it. The second aspect that I was more so talking about as well is the Xbox Game Pass thing, where you have access to that thing until you no longer start playing it. So, like, yeah, you get access to all these games, but the second you stop paying for Game Pass, your games stop working.
Yeah, it's trash.
And it's kind of just like games for gold, or like, you know how you get like the free games every month. Mm-hmm. As long as you have Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, you have access to play these games. But the second you no longer have it, those games no longer work. So again, that's the scary part, because I feel like it started with physical media and then it went to digital. So then digital people are now okay and used to digital. Now they're trying to move to streaming. So again, at the end of the day, if these companies don't have to pay these stores like Target or Walmart to hold their games, if they can just bring their games to you direct, that's just more profit, direct profit in advertising to you directly. So they make more money, but then you lose ownership because again, at the end of the day, you're basically renting your games. That's essentially what it is.
Through Game Pass, you're speaking about, right?
Right. I'm talking about Game Pass right now.
Okay, yes, it's the same. That's the same thing as like the streaming. I agree, but like I said, I'm okay with music because even if I do fall on hard times or whatever, I would, with as much music as I listen to, it would be way too much to physically buy like all of that shit. Like there was just no fucking
right. And again, like I said, I'm not. I think that
sense.
from that aspect, to each his own. Like for me, when it comes to music, I still like the fact that I own it no matter, and especially when it comes to music. Like I'm actually a little bit more lenient when it comes to gaming, just because of the portability of music. I can like the music that I have right now. I can literally listen to anywhere. Like if there are certain places where like if your internet connection is not working, or if you got a low signal, you can't listen to music. But I don't have that problem because again, I remember back in the days when you used to have Walkmans. You know, if you used to have anything that when you go into the subway, if you go underground and you don't have an internet connection, there's no music for you.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So like for me, as long as I have an MP3 player on my phone, which is basically any phone that you have, it's on that phone. So whether I have an internet connection or not, that music will be there for me. So that's again, like I'm just real. Again, it might be just because I'm an old man. So I still have this mentality where I want to make sure that if I spend my money on something, I own that. Like I can do whatever I want with it. I can flick it into the sky. I can burn it to a CD. I can I can save it to my phone. And no matter what you do or no matter what circumstances that befalls me, I still own that at the end of the day. So that's just kind of where my mindset is on that. But I think it was a good discussion. Was there anything that you wanted to add on to that?
Nah.
Okay, well, we are running about an hour 46 minutes now, so we probably want to get ready to wrap it up. We want to end up in recommendations right now. So, what is Ghost recommended to the people this week? Do you want me to go first so you can think about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I got two recommendations. I got a movie recommendation and I have an anime recommendation. My movie recommendation is Ready Player One. Ready Player One is a movie directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's essentially a. It's funny enough. It almost has like anime feels to it. So, essentially, the main character is living in this post-apocalyptic world where literally people have better lives online. You basically strap into a VR unit and you get taken away to this world where literally you can make up any life that you want. And it actually has a lot of really great cameos. Like they got Tracer from Overwatch is in it. Like King Kong, Master Chief. Like literally any video game character that you can think of is in this movie. I actually watched it like probably about a month or two ago. And I was absolutely just amazed at what I saw. Like the movie is fantastic. The story is great. The cameos are great. The action is great.
I will say one thing about that: the love interest is so horrible and corny. But I feel you. It's cringeworthy. But I mean, it's such a good movie.
I think it was stereotypical. Like I don't think it was anything that was wrong with it.
No, it was gay. I'll tell you how. Like it was very cheesy. I will tell you why after the podcast because I don't want to throw any spoilers out there.
Okay, I mean, like I said, to each his own. Like I enjoyed it. I thought that the if you've seen any show where you have a love interest, I mean, you can pretty much predict how things go. I didn't have an issue with it, but clearly Ghost did. Maybe one day we'll review the movie on the podcast once people get an opportunity to watch it. But my recommendation is movie-wise is Ready Player One. It's a really good movie. You should check it out. And in anime, Parasite the Maximum. That is a anime that you can watch on Crunchyroll, and it is really good. It's have you seen Parasite the Maximum? So Parasite the Maximum is basically it's not a shonen. It's actually very violent too. So essentially, it's about an alien that attaches itself to a human, and it's basically in his hand. So his hand basically has like a sentient being in it, and it's just basically kind of how other aliens are starting to take over other bodies. It's on Crunchyroll. It's probably about 13 to 14 episodes. Parasite the Maximum. It's really good. What you got?
I would say everybody listen to 88 Uprising's album. Pretty please.
I will.
I really would like it. And I would also say my anime recommendation is my absolute favorite anime of all time. I want everybody to just give it a look. It's actually a series of 7 movies. Each one is amazing. Watch it 1 through 7. It's a Type Moon anime by the same people who made Fate Stay Night. That's enough. It is called Kara no Kyokai. I will, link it in the group chat or, whatever you guys need to, if you're interested in peeping it. It's 7 movies. It's really good. I'm not even going to tell you guys anything about it. I just want you guys to see it. So I would recommend 88 Rising and Kara no Kyokai.
All right, fantastic recommendations. All right, guys, we've given you guys about an hour and 50 minutes of content this week. Good Lord. So before we go, we're going to tell you guys where you can find us. Ghost, what is your social media situations?
Instagram, Alden Sensei. On Twitter, the most electrifying, your father's uncle. Low-fat breakfast, because a healthy breakfast is a low-fat.
Stupid. And you can find me on Insta as well as on Facebook at Show Enough the King. You can follow the Mag Nerd Podcast on Twitter at Mag Nerd Podcast with the number 2. Definitely, this episode will be uploaded everywhere starting tomorrow. Saturday, you guys will see it live on all the different podcast directories. We are here to stay. Mag Nerd Podcast coming.
Amen.
Cumin.
Cumin.
Coming.
I'm on the ground coming.
Howard, guys.